Hey, everybody. We,
It is still morning, right? Good morning.
Oh gosh, is it? Probably not. Hi.
It is.
I don't know. We're still drinking coffee, so it's morning in our minds.
when I've switched over to Central Time now, which you wouldn't think an hour would make a difference, but it just does. It really does.
Right. That does make a difference.
Yes. Well, today we wanted to give our incredible community a behind the scenes sneak peek into the inner workings of VSP HQ. So
I love that. It's the FOB. It's the forward operating base.
we're going to focus the curtain pullback on operations and development of our nonprofit organization today. And with me are Amy Updegraft, our founder and artistic director, and Leah Johnson, our executive and developmental director. In case you didn't know.
If you didn't know,
Honestly.
by now you probably know. Get off my screen.
Okay, guys, are you ready for some?
All right, we're ready. Audra's going to interview us.
Question 1. For those who aren't familiar, define what operations and development mean in the context of a nonprofit organization.
Amy, is this where you just want to run and hide?
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit back and drink my coffee until you guys probably don't need me at all today, but
yes, we do.
Yes, you're it, Leah. You're it.
This is actually one of my favorite questions. And I had this conversation just last week with a 12-year-old. She's like, what's a nonprofit? And it's one of my favorite questions because I think it's so simple. It's just a business. It's any other business. A nonprofit, the only difference is that when you make a little bit of money, you don't go buy a beach house. You roll it back into the business. But other than that, same incorporation, same tax law. Well, that one different tax law. Same runnings, same needs as any other for-profit business. So VSP has the same incorporation status and operational needs as Pepsi. Well, on a much smaller scale. Why couldn't I think of a small company?
I don't know. I like that you just went for it. You just
for the biggest company there is.
You didn't say Amazon or Walmart, but other than that, you just kind of went for it. I like it.
But yeah, same exact. It is a company, a business that just has a different tax law. So when you give money, you don't have to pay taxes, and we benefit a group of people, and our group of people is veteran spouses. We provide a service. Our service happens to be at no cost, but that's not in any way mandatory for a nonprofit. The officers and employees of a nonprofit should get paid because they're working for a company. And I think that's a big misconception, is that people who work for nonprofits should work for free because it's a nonprofit, right? And why would you take away from the people who you're serving by paying yourselves? But then you have to ask yourselves, well, who's going to do the work that needs to be done to help the people that need helping for any long-term period of time and not get paid? Mm-hmm. So as an executive director, it's the same. And in the nonprofit world, it's called executive director. In the for-profit world, it's called president or CEO. Same thing. So
that goes into like the
answer
that I had talking about stereotypes or preconceived notions that you wanted to turn on their heads, but also what you wish people knew about what's involved in nonprofit running.
Well, I think Amy and I learned this a little bit by doing it. We've learned almost everything we've done by the script. Is, Amy and I had a background of, dabbling in this things and that things that gave both of us the unique skills we needed to come together and create VSP. But I think that, when I'm speaking for you and I've never had this conversation, but we had also been used to like doing the FRGs and VBS at church and do like dabbling in all these were the things that we were like responsible for creating and sustaining. So I think when we came into VSP, we had this weird, like, it was a little bit like, well, I know it needs to be like this real business, but it also feels like it's probably more like a club, right? But then as it began to roll, we were like, oh no, this is a real business. And so we really learned that, as we started it was an actual business. And we did, I mean, at first I was the one that was like, no, we all need to be volunteers. This is crazy. We have no money. We just should all volunteer. And that lasted, I mean, we volunteered our time. How long, Amy? 3 years?
A long time. About the time that
You were in it longer.
About the time that we were like,
right. There was a moment where we're like, I get the altruistic, like this should be out of the goodness of our hearts. And it is, you guys, we don't get paid as much as Target employees, right? Like it's not like but if we did, there would be no shame in that. So I do think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's not a real business. And because it's a real business, and it takes a marketing team. It takes a website designer. It takes an accountant. It takes graphic designers. And what blows my mind is there's this expectation from some donors to nonprofits and some, community members that are like, well, why would you, I don't want to give money to have you make a logo, or I don't want to give money so that you can redo your website. But I challenge you to find a graphic designer or a website designer or whatever who's going to consistently do the work for free. And I just think there's a funny disconnect that we're expected to not pay, or to not pay a lot, like market value for services to make our company work. But there's no issue in the services that we're hiring to charge market value, right? And there shouldn't be. So there's it's just a really interesting dynamic between, we are more careful than I can confidently say we're more careful with our donors' money than most people, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, the final piece to that is then we're a nonprofit that specializes in the arts.
Oh yeah, forget it.
Which, I mean, so then, right, like, as everyone knows, for centuries, artists they're striking right now, right? Like consistently underpaid, consistently willing to work for free or for very little money because they want the opportunity to create. And so then you kind of add that on top of it. Like, we want to be able to, the artists that come in and work for us, the actors and musicians or directors or designers, we want to be able to pay them, likely a saying, like a fair wage. I mean, that's not, we don't expect people who are experts in their craft to come in and do things for free.
Yeah.
But that there is an expectation, like, oh, you're a nonprofit and you fall under an arts organization umbrella.
So when we talk to donors and it's like, what are you fundraising for? It's sometimes the answer is operations. I'm fundraising because I need to pay people. I'm fundraising because I need to hire a graphic designer, and that's going to cost $3,000, right? So, and I can't take, anyway, so it's true, Amy, and we want to pay people fair market value, but in order to do that, we need people to donate to us so that we can have the money, because we don't have really strong streams of revenue. We're not selling you anything. We're trying to provide services for free out of the goodness of the heart of our team and for our community. And yeah, I think that's so true. Mm-hmm. So I do think there's this like disconnect and like, well, we don't want to give to operations, but you have to have operations to work. You'd never ask Pepsi to not have a marketing team. And their CEOs have yachts and beach houses.
Exactly right.
Or the Target employees.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned team, because my mission is, how do we all work as a small team? How do we get things done as a small team behind the scenes?
You just get out of each other's way. This is the number one, like, anyone who knows me truly, I think probably maybe would think I'm great at raising money. I'm terrible at raising money. You've never met a person worse at it than I am. I'm the worst.
She literally has told people, but oh man, Amy and I work so well together right up until she needs to stop talking. So she's so good at like what we do. We're creating passion around what we're doing and really empathy for these spouses. Like she's so good at that. And then we were literally in a meeting once where we had this potential donor, and I was going to go in for like a $15,000 ask. Like I was ready. She had like set the canvas. Like it was this, I was like, oh my gosh, we are working together so well. And then he leans over the table and he goes, so what do you guys need from me? And she literally looked him in the face and said, nothing. Thank you. We just want your support and approval. And I was like, no, we actually need $15,000 from you.
You guys,
It was my favorite thing. It was hilarious.
So I feel like how you make a small team work is you find the right people who mesh well. Like Leah is saying, like we all do work very well together. It feels seamless in a lot of ways, but you all have a clear understanding of what each of you are good at. And then you get out of that person, you support them. Like if Leah needs me to come in and say the things to help get people emotional, like I will gladly do that. But then we've learned but then I leave the room and she does all of the asking, right? Like it's true, with Audra or anyone on the team. I think the biggest mistake I think people make on small teams and small organizations is trying to do everybody else's job.
Yeah.
No, you're totally right. I think there's a really fine balance between understand the strengths of your small team, because on a small team, it is harder because you do have to take on more than your share of the line's work sometimes. And you don't often get compensated at market value, right? Like you're not getting paid a ton of money. So I do think there's this balance to strike between like staying in your lane, understanding what drives your passion. And that's one thing Amy and I have been very conscious of.
Yeah.
Hard word. Is like what makes us, even the two of us, like we know that there's tasks we're gonna have to do that drain us of our energy, but can we mainly do the tasks that excite us? Because that's part of the fulfillment. So we find people who can come onto our team that are passionate about the things that drain us. Like Audra is passionate about like organizing and making beautiful things and making things clear. We're so bad at it. And she has this beautiful way of taking like mine and Amy's like broad vision and making it into something that people can understand and digest. And that's something that Amy and I beat our head against a wall for years about. So we bring Audra onto the team and she can do that well. But on a small team, there's also that balance of every now and then you are going to have to be all hands on deck because there just isn't a big pool to pull from. So we're going to go into October or November. We're going to go into Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're going to put on an in-person performance. And we're a 4-person team. So we're going to be, a couple hundred people in the audience. We're selling tickets. We're marketing. We're having a dinner. We're having people fly in. We're having, we're going to try to fundraise at it. Like it's going to be all these things. So there will be a point where Amy's going to have to do something that she doesn't want to do, or Audra, I'm going to have to go, who knows, maybe I have to run lights. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'm running coffee, but it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
At some point, right? Like there's the get out of the way. And every now and then we all got to be present.
And I think the final piece is just trust. I mean, I think these two, because they've worked with me long enough, know that there's some anxiety in working with somebody like me because I'm going to take it right up to the wire. And it's stressful, right? When it's like, okay, I'm going to have it done on Friday. And so at 11:58 at night, it's going to drop into your inbox. And there is a level of, and I know that, right? Like that creates anxiety sometimes for my coworkers. I wish I could tell you it's going to change. It's not. It's just not going to change, right?
A few iterations to not be stressed out anymore. And now I'm like, you're right about the trust. Now I'm like, well, she said she's going to get it done. It's going to get done, and it's going to be amazing because it's never not been.
So I mean, but there is like that takes just time and the ability to let go of your need to control it and your ability to be like, okay, Audra, we gave you our ideas for this, and I trust that you are going to make something beautiful out of it. And and if there's something that needs corrected for any of us down the road, I trust that you're going to say it in a way that's going to be productive and help us make things better for down the road. So I think that's the key too. And it's something I'm super thankful for, that we all just really believe and trust in each other to do our job.
I think that's the foundation of it, Amy. I think you're right.
I think we respect each other as people first too. So I think that's something that I love about our team. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, last question. Are there any current projects that have to do with operations and development that we're currently working on that you would like to share, Wizard of Oz curtain pulling back style, with our community?
Such a sneak peek. So our organization is just interesting as far as fundraising goes. And I'll start fundraising first, because the operations seem easier because we're small and we can, like we all just talked about with the team, and we work really well together. But on the fundraising side, since we don't have one location, it's not like we can be like, oh, it's the annual VSP reading and cocktail party where we raised $30,000. Like, we don't have that. So it's, our fundraising has been solely based on our relationships with people, which is great, because that's what drives this whole organization, is relationships. So it's fine. But when COVID shut everything down and we had to kind of pivot and do things online, we did these online balls. We did 2 virtual balls that were fundraisers that literally raised enough money to fund, each one funded our entire year. It was phenomenal. But you go back to a small team, and that it was too much for our small team to continue. So we are going to try to continue to have a relationship with the people who came to the ball, because that was something exciting and really forward facing and something they could be involved in. So they gave so generously. So we're sending out little postcards. So if you came to the ball and you haven't been involved with VSP since, you might get one of these little nuggets in your mailbox. It's the cutest little postcard, and you can color it if you want. And on the back, it says all these lovely things, and there's a little spot for you to donate. And I mean, just listen, we're small. Anything helps. If you're like, well, I can't give more than $5 or $10, then give $5 or $10. Give $5 every month, because that's like one latte. And
I have my sweet college roommate. I mean, I think she gives $5 a month. I mean,
yes,
she's
amazing.
She's an actor and professional out in Portland. And so, but she's like, at least, I'm thinking of you. And,
and it helps. We are so small that even a donation of $5 a month is something that we celebrate as a team, and we reach out to you. I mean, I call those donors frequently and try to keep them connected, because again, we're about relationships. So if you're giving to us, you become part of, in a sense, our operational team, because I want your thoughts and I want your relationship, and I want, if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine too, but
good luck.
Not up for anything, but good luck. I'm pretty persistent. So anyway, sneak peek. I just got these delivered. I'm super excited about them. I think it's a cute little way to just say, hey, we're still here. We're still doing these amazing things, and we can't do them without you.
Yeah. And we're still, we're always, trying to raise money we are going to offer a 3 or 4 fall writing classes. Audra's going to teach a poetry class. And the hard to script class that I teach, which now I think is in like its 4th iteration. I mean, we've seen 30+ spouses come through it. It's this play reading we're going to do in November is all based out of this class and this writing group. So we're really finally, I think, building a true community. Like, we are building a community of spouses and artists and writers who, are really finding a safe place to kind of share their inner heart's workings through our work. And so that's something we will always continue to do. We'll do that in the fall, we'll do that in the spring. And we're always obviously needing money to make those things happen. So
yeah. So it's just finding creative ways to reach out, because we don't have the ability to do like the cocktail party. So it's kind of fun. So, hey, listeners, if you have any fun, creative ways to reach out, call us. You can volunteer to do it.
Call us, use our contact page on our website, reach out to us, send us a Facebook message, whatever floats your boat. But that's hopefully giving you a picture of how operations and development, that behind the scenes, ends up leading to what we can actually offer to military spouses and veteran spouses. So,
and I will say we have the most amazing operational team on the planet right here. Where's Christy? She just moved, so she's not here, but we have the best team in the whole world. I am convinced of that.
Love it. Never feels like work.
Never feels like work.
no. All right, VSP community, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Mwah.